Hello, everyone. Today, we will be talking about mental health in the workplace, starting with Halima Amara, who is going to talk about work-related stress and will provide us with ways on how to manage it that would help us manage it. Uh, then we will go to we will discuss ADHD and how it impacts employees and the environment, the professional environment as a whole. After that, uh, with after that with Malak Shbel, we will talk about ways on how to normalize a conversation on mental health in the workplace. Then Ishraq Qorabi will provide us with mental health support systems and their impact on the workplace and on employees. And lastly, I will be talking about um, uh, how to integrate mental health in the workplace as a primary policy. Now, without further ado, I'm gonna give the floor to Halima Amara. And as I mentioned, she will be talking about how to manage work-related stress. So, first of all, I would like to ask you, Halima, what is work-related stress?
So, thank you, Manal. Before I share my thoughts, I would like to start with a quote that captures the essence of what I want to say. The quote say, "It's not the law that breaks you down; it is how you carry it." So, this is quote from a famous law holds. So, this statement implies that our capacity for stress management is more important and significant than the level of stress we are experiencing. So I fully agree with this statement because stress reduction strategies can be successful even if we are dealing with major challenges. I have held part-time jobs for the past 2 years here at EUI. So I am aware of how demanding workload stress can feel. Similar levels of stress are probably something that many workers or students have gone through at some point in their lives. This is why it is important to know about certain stress, practical management, and coping skills mechanisms that we can apply in our daily lives. So, in this context, I'm going to answer your question, Malak. What do we mean by work related stress? So, work related stress refers to mental and emotional health conditions such as depression, anxiety that arise from job demands. Usually, when persons' workload exceeds their capacity to handle it, it can result in overwhelming and unpleasant symptoms. Therefore, this may harm their health, their physical or their mental health, and if it's not addressed effectively. So I'm gonna introduce you some of the findings from the uh, states, the Global Workplace Reports in 2021 by Gallup reveals that 60% of workers experience stress, indicating that emotional detachment at work, while 19% report ongoing misery. So these figures are higher than those from the previous year. This means that significant proportion of the workplace is dealing with psychological distress, which is alarming considering that people spend an average of 81,396 hours per year at work. So it is crucial since prolonged exposure to work related stress can lead to various health problems and negatively impact employee productivity and job satisfaction. So, as we all know that stress is part of life, but it can be managed effectively to prevent it from becoming overwhelming. So, to do this, it is important first to identify the causes that lead to stress or feeling of being stressed. So, first we have workload. So, workers may claim that, for instance, that they are unable to handle the demands of their jobs or that they lack control over how they carry out their work. And second, we have personal problems or interpersonal issues. So we have employees may have some personal problems or they can struggle with their colleagues, their boss, or they may be bullied or harassed. So they should know how to get over these problems without freaking out and without being stressed. And finally, we have work balance. So when work and personal life are out of stress, then stress and burnout can be the results. Okay, so now clearly we need to put some strategies on how to manage workplace stress in specific way for managers and workers. So here are some solutions to do to overcome this problem. So at first point we have the word demands, which means that managers must make sure that the job requirements match the employee's skills and these requirements can meet within the normally scheduled working hours. And also we have support, which is very crucial points. So this involves making sure that there are adequate policies for the employees to be able to perform their jobs and making sure that managers have systems in place for managers to be able to support their employees. So this is accomplished by possibly practicing in online stress management courses so they can better understand signs and how to manage them. So this is for managers, how they can help their employees to overcome with stress. But for the employees, we all know that employees have obligations to the rest of the world. So this encourages self-care and ensures that you prioritize yourself because you can only perform at your peak when you are feeling better at your best. So this results in relaxation, which will help you reflect and refocus the next day. And finally, make sure that it is all about reflection. So make sure that you are aware of the fact that sometimes when you have had less than ideal day, you reflect, maybe if I had done this differently, I would have had a better outcome. So reflection is crucial because after reflection, something that might have seemed bad at the time may turn out to not have been so bad. So thank you for listening to my thoughts, everyone. Now I would like to turn the floor to my teammate Mohammed Amin to share his perspective about mental health in the workplace as well.
Thank you, Helima, for your insightful comments and your very informative presentation. I'm sure a lot of have gathered some knowledge from what you just said. Before we move on to the next topic or the next point in this webinar, I would like to remind or uh, shed the lights one more time on the outline of this webinar for the viewers who just joined us. So Halima just talked about how to manage work-related stress, and next we will be talking about attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and its impact on the workplace with my teammate Amin Hassani. Then normalizing conversation on mental health with Malak Mishbal. After that, the importance of mental health support programs with Ishraq Qorabi. And finally, we will finish our discussion with me providing you with ways on how to integrate mental health in the workplace as a primary policy. Now, without further ado, let me leave the floor for Amin Hassani to talk to us about ADHD.
Um, Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, in the workplace. So ADHD is a neurodevelopmental illness characterized by problems with attention, impulsivity, and the hyperactivity. People with ADHD may struggle to focus on tasks, organize their work, complete projects, and meet deadlines. This can provide considerable difficulties in the office, as employees are expected to manage their times, prioritize activities, and safety job obligations. People with ADHD who work in the workplace have a variety of obstacles that may include time management difficulties, um, weak organizational skills, difficulty focusing, and hyperactivity and impulsivity. So first, I'm going to talk about the problem with time management, with which every ADHD worker has, basically, where that worker struggles with the efficiency to manage their time, frequently being sidetracked by unrelated work or losing track of time. For example, they may begin working on projects only to get diverted by an email or phone contacts, causing them to fall behind schedule and fail deadlines. Um, the second thing, which is weak organizational skills, arranging work can keep track and keeping track of key papers can be difficult for those with ADHD. Um, for example, individuals may struggle to prioritize activities, forget where they stored key files or documents, or have difficulties following complex instructions. The third thing is the difficulty focusing. People with ADHD may struggle to stay focused on activities, which lead to distractions and problems finishing their assignments. For example, they may struggle to focus on a work for an extended amount of time, regularly getting up from their desks to take breaks, or becoming distracted by noises or other stimuli. Um, a study on the incidence of ADHD reported that at least 24% of employees on long-term sick leave due to stress-related illnesses met the criteria for attention deficit disorder. This was done by Bratsberg in 2006. Um, the fourth thing, which is hyperactivity, which is basically just a cause of a consequence of lack of focus, and it just doesn't help at all with focusing and everything. It's it's basically being hyperactive, which makes you um not focus on one task at a time, uh which can be very bad for the workplace and for like the whole company or whatever. The fifth thing I want to talk about is impulsivity, which refers to people with ADHD who suffer with impulsivity, which can be contribute to poor decision making, inappropriate contacts, and issues with social relationships. For example, they may make improper comments during meetings or interrupt people during talks, resulting in unfavorable social effects. I wanted to add something else, which is impaired memory, uh, because those with ADHD may struggle with short-term memory, resulting in forgetfulness and trouble recalling crucial facts. For example, they may forget key deadlines, meetings, or information from discussions. Um, while ADHD can be difficult at work, with the right support and treatments, people with ADHD can flourish. Here are some particular tactics and examples that might help with ADHD manage their symptoms and excel at work. Um, there are four ways to manage ADHD symptoms, either by using medication, behavioral therapy, um, flexibility, which means flexibility with the workers who have ADHD, and workplace support. The first thing is medication, which which means stimulants, for example, stimulant drugs such as, for example, Adderall or Ritalin can assist enhance concentration and attention. For example, a person with ADHD who is having difficulty concentrating on their professional activities may benefit from medication to assist them concentrate. The second way to manage ADHD symptoms is behavioral therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT) can assist patients in learning copying methods to control ADHD symptoms, such as establishing organizational skills and time management tactics. For example, a person with ADHD might work with a therapist to develop a schedule or a task list to help them prioritize and manage their work responsibilities. Um, Business can adjust, such as flexible scheduling or assistive technology, to help a person with ADHD meet their demands of their job. An employer, for example, may permit an employee with ADHD to work from home or modify their work schedule to allow for breaks to manage symptoms. Um, Lastly, is the workplace support. A supportive work environment can help people with ADHD flourish at their work. A supervisor, for example, can give clear instructions and regular feedback to assist an employee with ADHD in staying on track and managing their workload. Also, for people with ADHD who struggle with focus and attention, a work atmosphere that is reasonably calm and devoid of distractions might be beneficial. Generally, a mix of these tactics can help people with ADHD manage their symptoms and thrive at work. Individuals with ADHD should engage with their employers and healthcare practitioners to determine an appropriate tactic and accommodation for their specific requirements. Thank you so much, and I'm gonna leave the floor to Manal to present the other.
Thank you, Amin, for your presentation. Uh, it was very interesting and informative. I would like to thank all the viewers who just joined us. And thank you all for your very supportive comments. My teammates and I are reading them. This is a reminder. If any of you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in the chat. And we will be answering all the questions by the end of the presentation. Here's another a reminder of the outlook of the outline of this topic. So yeah, well, I'm gonna leave the floor to my teammate Melek Shbel, so that she would talk to us on how to normalize conversation on mental health in the workplace.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be presenting my topic and I'll be providing reasons why it is hard to talk about mental health in the workplace first. So, the points I will be talking about are the fact that workers have still find it challenging to talk about their mental health and well being. And according to Mental Health America, 11,000 workers across 17 industries in the United States in 2021 found that nearly 80% of workers uh, filled the survey report agreed that their workplace is the cause and effect of their stress. It is also challenging for workers to talk about their mental health because of their setting, organizational structures, and personal characteristics such as their race, sex, immigration status, national origin, age, etc. Employees are also uncomfortable to talk to their senior leadership about their struggles with their mental health. And because of the stigma in the workplace that doesn't normalize workers to talk about mental health, 8 in 10 workers prevent themselves from seeking treatment for their mental health. And not many employees feel comfortable talking about their mental health struggles because they would rather talk about issues concerning money or other topics non-related to mental health because it is still stigmatized. And lastly, employees fear that they will face discrimination from their colleagues or bosses because of the stigma mental health has in the workplace. So, the major points that we can take from this topic is that the reason why employers have a trouble to talk about their mental health is because of the stigma that is still there that doesn't normalize mental health talks in the workplace. Secondly, is because of fear of being discriminated because of who they are as a person or gender or race. And moving on, I will be talking about the statistical information about mental health in the workplace. So, approximately 1 in 5 US adults experience a mental health condition each year. And there are 30 million workers who are dealing with a mental illness. There has been an increase in the proportion of employees experiencing mental health challenges from 2019 to 2021, showing that younger and underrepresented workers still struggle the most. And many employees leave their jobs because of the overwhelming and unsustainable work. 68% of millennials and 81% of Gen Z left work for mental health reasons in 2021. And in 2019, 50% of millennials and 70% of Gen Z left work voluntarily and involuntarily. There is at least one workplace factor that negatively impacts the workers' mental health, according to the 84% respondents. And 89% of UK workers report having suffered from a mental health issue because of the working life. And 13% of employees feel comfortable talking about mental illness at work. These statistics basically prove the point that normalizing mental health talks in the workplace is not really common. And last but not least, I will be presenting the last topic of my presentation, which is ways that can help normalize conversations about mental health in the workplace. So, first of all, organizational leaders should address the possibilities for seeking help and access mental health support in the workplace so that the workers can feel encouraged to share conversations about their mental health. Investing organizational efforts in the well being of the workplace can turn into a support effect in developing a happier, healthier, and productive workforce for the well being of an organization. And improving the working environment to support the workplace mental health would be a huge improvement in the workplace. Additionally, employers should create a culture where workers can openly talk about mental health, which when they would share their own stories about mental health, it would lead to the decrease of the stigma of misinformation about mental health to be able to normalize conversations about it in the workplace. Training supervisors should have conversations with employees about signs of mental health and by connecting them to available mental health sources to make them feel that mental health is being valued in the workplace and be able to address openly. And scheduling regular check ins with employees to assess how people feel can be an opportunity for employees to feel comfortable in reaching out when they need help. Using respectful language by being mindful of the words that would not define a person by their state of mental well being should also be put in the workplace. Building psychological safety that makes teams believe it is safe to speak up, take risks, admit to mistakes, and learn from failures. And lastly, creating a culture of well being by fostering a positive working environment with promoting good mental health practices. That's it. That's all I have for now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Malak, for your presentation. It was again very insightful, very informative. I'm sure our viewers agree with me. Again, if you have any questions, any concerns, any comments, please do not hesitate to write them in the chat, in the live chat. And I will take this opportunity to remind you guys of the outline and the points we will be discussing or did discuss in this webinar. Uh, we were just talking about normalizing conversation on mental health in the workplace with Malak Mishbel. Next, we will move on and talk about the importance of mental health support programs with Ishraq Qorabi.
So thank you so much, Manal. Yes, we can improve. So I will talking about mental health support program in the workplace. So, but before we must be reminded that psychological programs is a big factor behind a low productivity or the quality of work. So many workplaces can be described as a toxic environment due to the high level of gender or ethnic discrimination. So in addition to the pressure and unstable job market. So this is because people suffering from mental health issue experience drop in confidence and rise in autism. So, in fact, the World Health Organization report that every year 12 billion working days are wasted because of the absence slowly related to the depression and anxiety. Uh, as we can see in the slides, while the importance of the mental health is acknowledged, very few benefits are offered, and employees find it very difficult to access mental health counseling. Yes, which is why many support programs have been put into place to protect the collaborator mental health and the company's interests. So now, while many people argue about the impact of these programs, studies have shown that 66% of workers claim that using the system offered by the company made them feel better. Plus, 80% of workers affirm that they will access their next job based on the mental health benefit they offer. These programs help improve the communication between colleagues and the top management. So, furthermore, sustaining a mental environment is the key to higher profits. Hence, offering similar approaches to the one that will be mentioned later is investment that will not only spread good dynamics within the team, but also a financial investment that will pay off greatly. And as we can see, the World Health Organization insists of the importance of mental health in the workplace through their guidelines on the mental health at work publication. They recommend training for both manager and employees, in addition to inventions when necessary. While they mention screening programs, they affirm that it's unclear whether or not they are indeed helpfully. The plaquette also features recommendations for the people gaining or returning to work after mental health issues. So after that, so for the final part, we're gonna see the support mental health programs. So these guidelines are used to create different programs to assist their employees. Now, let us introduce some of these programs that companies can use to improve the well-being of their employees, of course. So, first of all, we're gonna see the employees assistance programs. So, the employees assistance programs are services that employees offer to their staff members to help them get access to the mental health care, also offer like counseling treatment and specialized refers for workers who are having mental health illness issues, of course. After that, can help with a variety of different work-related problems, including stress, substances, uh, family concerns, monetary hardship, legal troubles, and more and more. And they are frequently included in an employee's benefit package. And a mental health professional may deliver the services both on and off sites, like to assist staff improving their mental health, and also may offer education programs. And now we will see the next program is stress management programs. Uh, uh, as we can see here, like they can assist workers in lowering stress level and the health concern that come with them. Many activities such as yoga, meditations, and so can improve it, like mindfulness exercises, progressivity, muscle relaxation, self hypnosis, and other campaign mechanisms can be incorporated into stress programs. Like may also contain instruction element to teach staff members more about stress and effective campaign mechanisms, as well as activity to support like general wellness, including exercises. Good nutrition and downtime support group may also be a part of the programs, allowing like staff members to talk about their experience with stress and exchanging advice to how to cope. Access to professional counseling like and other mental health treatments may actually be provided as part of stress management initiative. So for this third one is mindfulness training. So mindfulness training is it's the how receive mindfulness training, learn about how to pay attention to their thought, feelings, and physical sensation, as well as how to respond to them without passing judgment. Employees who receive this kind of treatment may find it easier to regulate their stress level and concentrate better on their work. As a result of their increased emotional awareness, also mindfulness training can teach staff members how to be more conscious for their surroundings, how their words and deeds affects others, and how to create more effectively in challenging circumstances. Also, practicing mindfulness can improve task prioritizing, time management, and general productivity for workers. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your brief presentation. It was very insightful
Thank you.
and informative. Well, I can see some questions in the chat. I really thank you guys for um, your enthusiasm about the topic. Is really refreshing. My teammates and I appreciate it very much. We will, however, tackle these questions in just one bit. I would like first to remind you of the outline for our new viewers of this topic. We talked about work-related stress and how to manage it with Halima Amara, attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder with Amin Hassani, normalizing conversation on mental health in the workplace with Malak Mishbal, the importance of mental health support programs with Ishraf, and now we will talk about how to integrate mental health in the workplace. So, well, um, there are various ways one can use to promote and integrate mental health as a main pillar within the professional sphere. Today, with the aid of the data I have gathered, I will present you with the most crucial and effective techniques, starting with um, training managers for mental health. Well, according to the WHO's suggestions, managers must receive training regarding mental health to help them better understand and respond to the employees going through emotional hardships. As Jerome calls a clinical neuropsychologist and a lecturer at Harvard Medical School, have stated it's important for managers to be trained to recognize the signs of emotional distress so they can react in a supportive rather than a punitive way. In other words, managers must be able to listen actively and communicate effectively with staff experiencing mental health issues. Additionally, they should also try help prevent such events from happening by running regular surveys to check on the overall well-being of employees. The second tip I will be talking about is normalizing conversation on mental well-being among employees. My teammate Malak Mishbal have already talked about this previously, uh, but I would like to shed the light at some other points. Um, well, first, I would like to state that normalizing conversation on mental well-being within the workplace is fundamental, especially among employees. And according to Julie Raw, um, an editor at the online magazine understood.org, this could be achieved by frequently reminding the staff using newsletters or emails every now and then. Next, we will be the next step I will present to you is including employees in the decision-making process. Employees must be included in the decision-making process because, according to the American Psychological Association, 48% of employees agree that the lack of involvement in decisions make them more stressed and emotionally the stress. Another study conducted by the same association have shown that when included in decision-making process, employees are more likely to remain in their jobs, and they show more productivity and enthusiasm in the workplace. Therefore, managers must encourage input from employees either by asking them directly or making them participate in anonymous surveys. The fourth point, or the fourth technique, is making the working conditions as flexible as possible. Well, it goes without saying that it is important to make the working conditions flexible because according to the APA's 2021 Work and Wellbeing Survey, 34% of employees agree that flexible hours can help improve their mental well-being. And according to an October 2021 Gallup poll, 54% of employees working remotely said they would like to divide their time between home and office, and 37% say that they prefer to keep working from home full time. The American Psychological Association argued that flexibility in the workplace increases employees' productivity and makes them feel psychologically safe, included, and most importantly, heard. Before I go on to the next point, I would like to make a small analogy on how time flexibility is important. If you remember the conditions and the quarantine, most people were enjoying working from home. As they had more time to focus on themselves, and I'm sure that a lot of you felt more productive and more enthusiastic about whatever it is that you do, whether you work or you study or any activity. The fifth and last point I will be talking about today is ensuring equity, diversity, and inclusion. Well, the neglection of these three values might impact tremendously employees' mental well-being. Other than that, studies have shown over and over again that diversity benefits the professional sphere and makes employees more productive. We will once again refer to an American psychological association study, and this time it has proven that diverse companies make up to 1,500 and $15,090 per employee. Diversity in the workplace encourages employees to work more efficiently and contribute better professionally. All of these steps have a common theme, which is to make sure that the employee is clearly heard and seen. The most important factor that would help companies promote mental well-being effectively is listening to their employees and granting them a safe, non-toxic working environment. In other words, it's important for managers to make sure that it's not just it's a safe environment for every member in any professional organization, and make sure that the people can communicate effectively. I think that is one of the most crucial steps in implementing a good mental health policy in the workplace. Well, this is it for how to integrate mental health as a policy in the workplace. We will be addressing your questions and concerns right now. Well, first question that I see here is from Aya Badawi is how can employees prioritize self-care to ensure they are performing at their best? Um, I feel like this is a question for Ishraq uh, Qorabi, since she
Yeah.
was talking to us about mental health support programs. So, Ishraq,
So I see that the question is, do you think that we can implement these programs in Morocco? Yes, we can. Yes, of course, we can implement. We just have to be mindful of our Moroccan culture and make sure that the programs fit them. That's it. Thank you so much, guys, for your for that comment.
thank you. Thank you, Ishraq. Um, there have been a mix-up. Well, uh, back to the question that we have raised. I think Halima might want to answer it.
Sure. So thank you, Aya, for the question. Uh, so, as I stated earlier, it is really important for the employees to know how to balance between work and personal life. So, they know how to set their boundaries to prevent burnout in their professional life. So, for example, if you have problem with your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, so don't let these problems affect uh, your professional career or your work. And second, I encourage you or employees in general to take breaks from time to time to refresh their minds and go back to work. Also, practicing such as the yoga, meditation, can help manage stress as well and promote well being. And finally, for your question, Aya, getting enough sleep, like if you didn't get more than 6 hours of sleep, you will not be able to be productive during your day and during your work. I wish so. I hope if this is the answer you are waiting for, Aya. So please, guys, if you have any other questions, let me know.
Well, before I let you go, Halima, there's another question for you, and it goes as follows. What are some effective strategies for managing stress and building resilience during times of change or uncertainty, such as transitions, restructuring, or new leadership? First, thank you, Iman Khalil, for a well-constructed question. And how can you answer that, Halima?
Okay, so Iman's question was about the effective strategies for managing stress. That's it. For managing stress and building resilience during time of change. Effective strategies for managing stress and building resilience during times of change include maintain positive attitude, second support from colleagues and friends, practicing self-care as well, as I stated before, focusing on what can be controlled and staying flexible and adaptable and taking time to reflect and assess personal values and goals.
Thank you, Halima, for your answer. I hope these answers clarify the ambiguity that you are experiencing. There is another question, uh, and it's do you think that mental health awareness should be a determining factor condition during the hiring process of team leaders and managers? Well, I think that it's important to make sure that the managers are mentally able to guide other employees during emotional distress. So I think yes, it is a determining factor, but not in a way in which um, it will exclude the people who are probably facing some mental health issues. Maybe just to have a better view on the way the person functions in a way, and if they need any assistance and support, the company will be able to provide them with the necessary help. So to answer your question briefly, I do think that it is a determining factor, but not a factor for exclusion and segregation between people with mental health issues and people who with less mental health issues. Um, Next question is for Amin Hassani, and it's can people diagnosed with ADHD overcome their symptoms?
Um, thank you for whomever asked this question. And I think that yes, people who are diagnosed with ADHD can overcome the symptoms, especially after the ways I stated earlier, by either taking medications or behavioral therapy, or even like when I talked about flexibility and the workplace support, I mean, it can work for other parts of life too, not only the workplace. It can work for family or group of friends or whatever. But yeah, as I said, those ways to support the people who have ADHD can very much make them overcome their symptoms. Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have enough time to tackle all of your questions, but we surely do appreciate the enthusiasm. It's very refreshing. Everyone in the team is very happy with your comments and questions as well. Thank you so much for assisting today. We really do hope that the webinar was informative enough and beneficial for all of you. Again, we apologize for not being able to tackle all of your questions. Uh, with this, we will be ending our stream today. And thank you all for assisting. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you,
Have a
all
good
of you.
night.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.